Hi there students, it's Dr. Allington here. I'm just going to give you a little tutorial on the writing assignment on perspective that I've assigned for you this week. And to do this, I'm going to use one of the texts from the source book that I haven't assigned for us to discuss, but just so that you can go there and reference this video, reference the text if you want to compare it with the video. It's an Enlightenment text, Concordet on the future progress of the human mind. And I'm going to write it out in the writing assignment perspective assignment that you can see here. Now it says Edmund Burke Reflections on the Revolution in France. That's just because this is the assignment that you all are going to see with the source that all of you are going to write on. But for this purpose, for the purposes of the tutorial, I'm just going to give you kind of an outline of how to approach this exercise. What approaches or ideas does the author support? We're looking for about 2 or 3 sentences. When I read this text, I see that Concordet is supporting or promoting or promotes the idea that humans are learning more about their world and that this will continue. And then saying 2 to 3 sentences, and he's saying that this process will be a result of a greater emphasis on the sciences. There's progress. Let's put progress. Okay, so I've set out in 2 sentences what's going on here. In the first paragraph, Corday is talking about the human mind, how the human mind is achieving knowledge that previously was thought was beyond it. And then in the second paragraph, he's talking about how education and the sciences, mineralogy, botany, zoology, meteorology, are the way, are the pathway to learning more about the world. What ideas or approaches does the author condemn? That's a little difficult to be certain of in a source that's not very long. The source that all of you will work on is going to be much longer. But I would say, looking at this, I would say one aspect that Concordet is condemning here, one approach that Concordet is condemning here is condemns the idea that condemns the idea that human knowledge of the universe can be limited. It seems that when you read this, that he's saying that over time human beings can come to learn just about everything about the universe. And about the universe. Okay, third question. What does the author leave out? This is a really interesting and important part of analyzing a text, analyzing the perspective of a text, which we might also refer to as the bias of a text. One thing that I notice when I look at this text that Concordet leaves out is that he leaves out any obstacles to this progress, or he certainly doesn't emphasize them. Concordet does not explain the obstacles to this progress or how they will be overcome. I'm just writing one sentence here because it's just a tutorial. As I say, I expect all of you to write 2, maybe even 3 sentences. What sort of perspective does the author represent? This is really the money question, and it's a question that sometimes students get confused about. Sometimes students think this means, what is the perspective of the source? Source is advocating for greater knowledge through the study of the sciences. But we're asking more about the author by asking this question. We have to think about what's the background of the author, or we have to research a little bit about Concordet. What can we know about him? And so here, based on my reading, based on my outside research, I would write Concordet reflects, represents the perspective of a French thinker from the Enlightenment. You might not be able to see the whole of the word enlightenment, but that's what I've written there. And that's really crucial for understanding the source. That's really crucial for understanding the text. That the perspective of the person we're reading about is someone who's coming from this particular background. So we don't want to go away from this text and say everyone in Western civilization at this time thought that human beings, the way human beings could learn about the universe was basically limitless. We want to go away and we want to be able to say someone who's coming from the perspective of an Enlightenment thinker thinks that this is possible. And that's really important. That's really important for constructing a thesis statement, explaining the significance of the source. It's not telling us that this is true, that this is definitely the case. Most people probably don't think this anymore. But it's telling us what sort of people thought this way. And that's really crucial. I hope this is helpful, and good luck on your assignment.